Welcome once again to your number one spotlight zone where gist doesn't just drop, it explodes, shakes timelines, stirs arguments, and forces even the actors themselves to start explaining what nobody asked them. Here, nothing hides, nothing escapes, and nothing passes under the carpet. When heat enters Nollywood, we bring the fire to your screen. So sit back, relax, and get ready because what you're about to hear is deeper, louder, and hotter than anything they thought they could keep quiet. Now let's go deep into the gist. The entire Nollywood internet space has gone from quiet whispers to loud arguments because of one question that has suddenly become the hottest topic across TikTok, X, Facebook Reels, YouTube comments, and gist blogs everywhere. Is Bryan Okwara planning to mentor Pearl what, or marry her? What started like an innocent pairing between a veteran actor and a rising queen has now turned into a full-blown online debate that refuses to die, refuses to settle, and refuses to be ignored. The chemistry, the comfort, the sudden closeness, the body language, the interviews, the behind-the-scenes clips, everything has pushed fans to believe something deeper is going on. It all began quietly, almost harmlessly, when Pearl What got cast in a project alongside Bryan Okwara. People saw it as a normal industry pairing, nothing more, nothing less. Pearl is on the rise, Bryan is a respected household name, mentorship seemed like the obvious assumption. But Nollywood fans are not people you can deceive with simple explanations. They watch eyebrows, they study side glances, they zoom in on hand movements, and they interpret every micro-expression like they are doing PhD research. So when Pearl and Bryan appeared in their first behind-the-scenes clip, the internet paused for 3 seconds, then erupted. Because what Bryan displayed was not the typical strict, experienced, fatherly mentorship that veterans often show. It wasn't the tough love energy. It wasn't the supportive big brother guidance. It wasn't even the typical, I'm helping you grow, vibe. Instead, what fans observed was softness. A gentleness that caught people off guard. A kind of attentiveness that felt deeper than ordinary acting preparation. Bryan looked at Pearl the way a man looks at someone he finds genuinely fascinating. And Pearl responded with that shy, warm, comfortable smile that fans say she only gives when she truly likes the person she's interacting with. Within hours, fan pages started posting side-by-side videos. Why is Bryan smiling like that? Why is Pearl suddenly too soft around him? Why is he always beside her even when cameras are not rolling? People noticed the way Bryan adjusted her hairpiece, the way he moved closer without hesitation, the way Pearl spoke to him in a tone she doesn't use with most co-stars. What was supposed to be a simple actor-mentor dynamic was suddenly looking like something far more intimate. Then came the clip that set the entire internet ablaze, the now viral hand on the waist moment. It happened during a romantic rehearsal that wasn't even meant to be filmed. One of the crew members recorded it while testing lighting angles. Bryan had placed his hand gently on Pearl's waist, and the way she leaned slightly into him made the internet explode. It didn't look like a forced pose. It didn't look mechanical. It looked natural, calm, soft, almost as if it wasn't acting at all. People flooded comment sections instantly. One viewer wrote, "No mentor holds waist like this. Let's all be serious." Another said, "This is not mentorship. This is early-stage relationship tension. They shouldn't lie." Someone else added, "Pearl's body language is giving comfort, not coaching." The reactions were endless, chaotic, and loud enough for blogs to start reposting the moment repeatedly. Before long, fans started dropping their theories. Some said Bryan had taken a special liking to Pearl because he saw potential in her career. Others insisted he was simply excited to work with fresh talent. But the loudest group, the one dominating conversations everywhere, believed with their full chest that Bryan was not planning to mentor Pearl. According to them, he was planning to marry her. And honestly, the evidence started piling up quickly. People pointed out how Bryan talks about her in interviews. The way he praises her doesn't sound casual at all. He called her refined, deep, focused, a star that knows she's a star but still humble. Fans replayed that part 100 times. Not because of what he said, but how he said it. The tone was soft. The admiration was pure. And the smile he gave afterward looked like a man hiding 50% of what he truly felt. Another interview clip went viral when Bryan said, Pearl is the kind of actress you enjoy guiding because she listens, she understands, she connects. That word, connects, caused the full internet meltdown. Viewers argued that he didn't need to use that word. It wasn't a technical acting term. It was emotional. It was personal. It hinted at something deeper. Meanwhile, Pearl herself didn't help matters. When asked how it felt to work with Bryan, she smiled so widely that comments immediately flooded with, "Someone is blushing too much oh." And then she said something that threw fuel on the already burning fire: "He makes acting easy. He makes it feel natural." People replayed that sentence like a love confession. They said no one uses that kind of phrase casually. But the drama didn't stop there. A fan-recorded video emerged from a location set, showing Pearl and Bryan walking side by side while laughing at something only the two of them seemed to understand. The closeness was suspicious. Their shoulders nearly touched. Their steps were synchronized. And Bryan's eyes kept turning in her direction. People said it looked like two people who enjoy each other's presence far beyond professional levels. Fans on TikTok made romantic edits immediately. Soft background music, slow-motion moments, captions like, "Just marry her already," and "See the way Bryan looks at Pearl." Those edits went viral within seconds, pushing the gist further. Then came the clip that turned the entire debate into a full Nollywood classic uproar, the day Bryan casually called her "my girl" on set. It wasn't loud. It wasn't planned. But fans heard it. It slipped out naturally, as if he had said it 1,000 times before. The internet went crazy. Some fans said he meant it platonically. Others insisted no man casually calls someone "my girl" without some emotional attachment. The argument got so hot that people started making voice note breakdowns analyzing tone, pitch, and pronunciation. At this point, blogs started weighing in. Some bloggers said Bryan had always admired younger actresses who worked hard and stayed focused. Others insisted he had a track record of forming close bonds with co-stars. But many said they had never seen him show this amount of softness to anyone else. They claimed the energy between Bryan and Pearl felt new, intense, and deeply natural. And then came the photo shoot, the final straw that sent fans into full announcement loading mode. Bryan and Pearl took promotional pictures for their upcoming film. But the way Bryan held her waist, the way Pearl rested into him, the microsmile they shared, the closeness of their faces, everything screamed intimacy. Not the fake kind actors use for posters. The real kind. The kind you can't hide no matter how much you pretend. People wrote comments like, "Why are they standing like pre-wedding couple? This is not movie chemistry, this is real-life connection. Forget mentoring, Bryan is in love and it's showing. If they announce wedding tomorrow, nobody will be shocked." More fans came with heavier takes. Some said Bryan was clearly seeing qualities in Pearl that align with what he wants in a partner: elegance, calmness, growth, humility, talent, and emotional intelligence. Others argued that Pearl's behavior around him showed deep respect mixed with admiration, a combination that often turns into romance. A few critics argued that the whole thing is publicity strategy, a way to boost attention for their movie. But even they couldn't deny that the natural ease between the two stars looked too real to be manufactured. Insiders also whispered that Pearl often waits for Bryan before leaving set. Others said Bryan delays going home just to work with her. Some even claimed the two share private jokes nobody else understands. Whether these insider claims are true or exaggerated, fans don't care. The chemistry is enough evidence for them. And now we've reached the biggest question burning across every timeline: is Bryan Okwara trying to mentor Pearl what, or marry her? Half the internet says it's mentorship that turned emotional. The other half says this is clearly the beginning of a relationship. But everyone agrees on one thing: the bond between these two is too strong, too warm, and too intimate to be ordinary. At this point, fans have concluded that if Bryan ever proposes, Pearl won't even need to think twice. Because the connection is visible. It is loud. It is undeniable. And it is growing every single day. Here is the extended continuation, pushing your gist well past 200+ words while keeping the same tone, pacing, drama, mood, emotional depth, and Nollywood-style tension. No questions asked, no breaks, No list, no headings, just a smooth continuation that blends perfectly into what you already have. The debate only grew louder when a new behind-the-scenes picture leaked online showing Pearl Watt and Bryan Okwara sitting close together during a short break on set. They didn't look like actors rehearsing. They didn't look like casual colleagues waiting for their cue. They looked like two people who had fallen into an oddly comfortable silence, the kind of silence that doesn't exist between strangers or casual co-stars. Pearl's body language was relaxed, her shoulders leaned slightly toward Bryan, and Bryan sat there with that calm older male confidence that made fans absolutely lose it. One fan reposted the picture and wrote, "If mentorship looks like this, then please mentor me too." Another fan wrote, "This is not a mentor, this is a man who is fighting for self-control." The comments did not stop. Someone even zoomed in and claimed Bryan's fingers were slightly brushing Pearl's arm, although others argued that social media people were simply seeing things they wanted to see. But whether it happened or not was irrelevant, the seed of suspicion had already been planted, and the internet was watering it like a garden. Then came the interview twist, the one nobody expected. Pearl was asked casually whether she enjoyed working with Bryan Okwara, and instead of giving the usual gentle, "He's professional and nice to work with," she gave an answer that sent shockwaves straight into Nollywood gossip circles. She said, "Bryan is easy to talk to." That was all. No drama. No revelation. No confession. But the calmness of her tone, the softness of her smile, and the way her eyes shifted slightly before she continued were enough for fans to interpret 1,000 meanings. Immediately, someone cut out the clip and uploaded it to TikTok with the caption, "Easy to talk to equals safe place. Sister talk true." That video crossed over 100,000 views in less than 24 hours, and from there, the mentor-husband conversation took on a life of its own. Some said Bryan had taken it upon himself to guide Pearl because he saw her potential. Others insisted the guidance had gone beyond professional boundaries and was now touching romantic territory. And then there were those who argued that Bryan might not even know the effect he was having, that he was simply being himself, but his natural charm and calm demeanor were too powerful for Pearl to resist. Meanwhile, blogs began posting their own exclusive insights. One popular Nollywood blog claimed Bryan was spotted adjusting Pearl's microphone during a shoot, something that usually falls under the responsibility of the sound crew. They described the moment as too careful, too gentle, too deliberate, adding that Pearl looked unusually shy afterward. Even influencers started reacting, saying things like, "Camera no dey lie. Body language no dey lie. Chemistry no dey hide. Whatever is happening here, it is not ordinary mentorship." People also pointed out the age gap, which made the gist sweeter for those who love romantic tension between a mature gentleman and a rising star. The narrative became even stronger when fans noticed Bryan always seemed to speak softly around Pearl, even when the set was noisy. Some defenders argued that Bryan speaks like that with everyone, but fans replied with a resounding, "Go and check interviews. He only talks calmly like that when he's dealing with someone he cares about." And as if destiny wanted to add fuel to the fire, another behind-the-scenes video leaked showing Pearl reaching for her water bottle and Bryan instinctively helping her open it. It was a simple gesture, but fans screamed online like they had just watched a Nollywood wedding proposal. Comments flooded in immediately. "That's husband behavior. Mentor does not open bottle like that. This is emotional attachment. Pearl don't win jackpot if this thing is true." But the most dramatic moment, the one that made even the commonest viewers raise their eyebrows, was when Bryan corrected Pearl's posture in one of their scenes. Instead of standing far or explaining with hand gestures, he gently placed his hand on her back to guide her into position. The internet nearly broke that day. People said no male colleague touches Pearl like that. Others said Pearl reacted with too much softness, too much familiarity, too much comfort for it to be strictly acting related. Someone tweeted, "This is not a mentor. This is a man that is trying not to fall too deep in public." Another viewer wrote, "I don't know what is happening, but Pearl smiles differently when Bryan touches her." By this point, the debate had reached a level nobody expected. Even fans from outside Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa began dropping their own interpretations. Some insisted Pearl was simply starstruck by Bryan's veteran presence. Others swore there was genuine emotion boiling under the surface, pointing out that Pearl's acting always seemed softer and more expressive when Bryan was her partner. It was becoming obvious that whatever chemistry they had was not something you could ignore or pretend wasn't there. And of course, Nollywood lovers did what Nollywood lovers do best: comparison videos. Side-by-side scenes showing Pearl acting with younger male actors versus her scenes with Bryan went viral on multiple platforms. The difference was undeniable. With younger actors, Pearl played her roles with confidence and energy, but with Bryan, she shifted into a different emotional gear, almost as if her entire demeanor softened. Fans said her eyes told the real story, the glances were gentler, the smiles slower, the emotional transition smoother. Someone posted a viral comment that read, "Her soul recognizes him. You can't fake that on camera." Another person replied, "Soft spot day." Even if they deny it, the body language dictionary says otherwise. Things got even more intense when a crew member anonymously revealed that during one emotional scene, Pearl became overwhelmed and slightly teary even after the director called cut. Instead of stepping aside or asking for a break, Bryan stayed with her, whispered something only she could hear, and calmed her down. Crew members described the moment as unusually intimate for two people who claimed to be nothing more than colleagues. That revelation sent fans spiraling. People reposted it everywhere, saying things like, "This man is either her emotional anchor or her emotional problem." Others argued that such a moment showed a connection deeper than acting. One viewer wrote, "If a man can calm her down like that, forget. They've crossed into personal territory." Meanwhile, fans argued endlessly about Bryan's intentions. Was he mentoring her? Was he protecting her? Or had he developed a genuine emotional attachment he was hiding behind professionalism? Some people swore Bryan had the energy of a man trying to resist falling too quickly. Others argued Pearl was the one catching feelings quietly, smiling at him like someone who trusted him deeply. But everyone agreed on one thing: whatever was happening between them was not ordinary at all. Even producers began noticing the effect. One producer allegedly said in a private conversation that pairing Pearl and Bryan always guaranteed deeper emotional scenes without extra direction. Another insider said the chemistry was becoming so strong that other actors felt the tension when the two were paired. People claimed the atmosphere changed, more quiet, more charged, more emotionally intense. And just when people thought the gist was already hot enough, a new rumor surfaced on Facebook claiming the two had been seen leaving set together multiple times. Some people dismissed it as blogger exaggeration, but others insisted the pattern was suspicious. "Why is it only Bryan she walks out with?" one fan questioned. "Why is it only Pearl he escorts to her car?" another asked. This triggered an even bigger online argument. Some said Bryan was simply being the gentleman he had always been. Others said his behavior was too consistent, too subtle, too protective, too warm to be casual. Someone dropped a comment that went viral immediately: "This mentorship is pregnant." Everything kept piling up: the glances, the body language, the off-camera closeness, the small unspoken behaviors, the protective instincts, the emotional sinking. It became impossible for fans not to form their theories. Some argued Bryan was bonding with her like a mentor who genuinely cared about her career and personal growth. Others believed the care was too emotional and too intimate to be called mentorship. And then another group insisted the entire thing was heading toward marriage, shouting confidently, "Just give them time." At this point, the internet has become a battleground. Team mentor. Team husband. Team secret relationship. Team denial. Team evidence. And the funniest part: Bryan and Pearl have not said a single word to confirm or deny anything. Their silence makes the gist hotter. And that is where the entire world of Nollywood stands now, watching closely, analyzing every new clip, every new interview, every new scene, every new rumor, and waiting for the next unexpected moment that would throw the debate into the fire once again. And that wraps it. Thank you for watching. Stay close because the gist never sleeps and the truth never hides for too long. More eyes are watching, more clips are dropping, and the story is far from over. Until next time, keep your notifications on because this is Stress Ninja TV, where every gist enters with heat and leaves with smoke.